everyone, it's NonnaGrace. I decided I'd come outside. The snow is all gone, but the grass is frosty. And behind me is one of my roosters. I'm at the rooster area, but the other two are inside. The chickens are, they're out too. I could show you them. Just hang on a half a minute. Oh, they're all going in. Oh, no, 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 no. What are you leaving me for? That's the rooster that I put it with the girls. He was the one that was getting beat up. Okay, today is the day that I said I would show you how to sew a button. I know a lot of you do know how to sew a button. When I was growing up, that was one thing that my mom taught us to do, because if you lost a button, you needed to put it back on. And I made some buttons. And I also want to tell you about the buttons that I have gathered, and I will show you that too. And some of them my mother gathered, some of my mother-in-law gathered, and I felt like I was the storybook Buster's Buttons. I don't know if you've ever seen that before. I will look for the book, and if I find it, I will show you Buster's Button book. And it's a really cute book. My kids used to love listening to it. So we'll go inside because it's really not nice out here. There's no wind, but it's really not that nice. I can show you my garden. My garden's not growing, but the snow is gone. Let me show you that. As you can see, I've got a lot of the stuff that I didn't pull up from last year, and under the snow, there's still some green. That's Swiss chard that's green. Whoa, I'm tipping. Okay. See? There it is. It's still green underneath the snow. Those were the pepper plants. I've got to pull them up. And the eggplant plants, I haven't pulled them out yet. There's some dead eggplant on there. Look at how it gets in the winter. Isn't that sad? That should have been harvested and put in the freezer, but I've got so much in the freezer I just didn't do it. I'll let it go back to the garden. Then my husband planted a few of these little, they're bushes is what he did. He put a bunch of them in, but only a couple of them have survived. My daughter wants these, and they grow huge. And over here is where my artichokes were. That I'm going to dig up because they take up so much space. And they're dead looking now, but they will grow. They come back in full force, but I'm going to dig them up. I don't want them anymore. Okay, let's go inside. Okay, we're back in the house. I'm going to take off my coat and get myself comfortable. Take off my earmuffs. I wear earmuffs. No hat. And I will put this away. Okay, today we're going to learn how to sew a button. Okay, now we can do the button sewing. But first I want to show you. I do have the book, Buster's. Let's see, it says Buster Loves Buttons, is what it is. And this is a story that we used to read this to my kids. Okay, buttons like beads can be a fun thing to gather. I have the bottle of white buttons, and I have the bottle of dark buttons, of black buttons. And then I have another white button, or actually this is a mixture. This is the white buttons. Those need to be sorted. And these need to be sorted. And these, well, these are oddball buttons, but there's buttons in there. They need to be sorted. Then there's a pill bottle with buttons. This has buttons. And I have a tin can filled with buttons. Let me get the cover off. I put some buttons on top because I'm going to use them, but there's buttons in here. You know, when you buy buttons, they're very expensive. But when these buttons were bought, this was 25 cents. Pretty darn cheap. This one's a more expensive one. This one was 79. You'd pay a lot more today. This one, let me see. Some of them are like, this was 25 cents. This was 10 cents for this batch of buttons. You can't buy buttons today for 10 cents. Then there's these buttons. So you never have too many buttons. This was were these bought at a different time. These were bought at a different time, and these probably were a little more. Oh, they were 2 for 47 cents. It's got the tag on the back, but it's really faded. but you could buy large buttons for coats. These were for coats. This is probably for coats. Then there's red buttons, there's little buttons, all kinds of buttons. This is all full of buttons. Buttons, buttons, and more buttons. But anyways, we're going to show you how to sew a button. Here's the buttons I made. I made some buttons. I made a 4-hole button. I made a 2-hole button. And I made a button that has the loop on the end. Some of the buttons have just loops on the end, like this button. This button has no holes, but it's got the little tab on the back. And this one's the same thing. It's a nice cloth. These are coat buttons, and they've got the little tab on the back. Now when you sew these, you want to make sure you put another button on the back side of the coat, because if you don't, they'll pull right through. Okay, we're going to sew now. This is my pretend shirt. I'm going to pretend this is my shirt. It's just a piece of cloth that I brought down. Okay, you want to thread your needle, not with yarn. You want to use thread, but you want it double. When you're going to sew a button, you want it double. So now, to make a knot, a lot of people will take it and they will just tie it like this, but no, you don't need to do that. This is an easier way, I think. You roll it around your finger, roll it, and slide it, and you have a knot. I will cut this knot off. Okay, there's my knot, like a magic trick. I'm not going to put it back on, but I will make a knot. Okay, then you put the two together, and you roll it around your finger. Leave that little tab there, and that it's like you're rolling it off your finger. So see, the tab is tucked in now, and then you just slide it, and you've got yourself a knot. Okay, there's the knot. You want to double the thread when you do buttons. Okay, now to sew, I'm going to use this side because you can see the 4 holes. I circled them. You're going to lay your button. Now, if this came off of something, you'd see some holes here where the button used to be, so you'd put it back on where it came off. And you take your needle and you go up through the bottom. And now you have to decide, do you want an X or do you want to go side to side to side? You want it to go around. A lot of times the X is pretty, so we'll do an X. So you go down on the opposite one, come up through the one next door, and go across. So you just made an X. You made an X on it. Now you will do this not once, not twice, not 3 times. You'll do it probably 4 times. I'm only going to do it a couple times because I don't want this video to be so long. I will go again. I will do it one more time. And you keep the pattern if you went, so that you continue with the pattern. Now when you're done, you have a beautiful button sewed on. So you turn it over and you put your needle through the material, and then you take the end that is not connected to the hole, you take the other end and you roll it around twice, and now you're going to pull the needle and you're going to keep pulling, and this knot is going to slide to where when you knot it, the knot's up here. So you don't have to tie anything, you just slide it through. And if you don't feel like it's secure enough, you do it again. Then you snip it off, and your button is on your garment. There, you've got one button. Now we're going to do a 2-hole button. 2-hole buttons are easy too. Okay, we got to make a knot again. So we're going to double thread it. We're going to put it around our fingers, roll it, and slide it, and there's your knot. You got a knot. Got a knot. Now you've got a knot. Okay. Now for the 2-hole button, you lay it on your spot that you want the button. You come up from the bottom, and you just go across to the top, and then you come up through the bottom again, through that same hole that you came up the first time, and go back down. Now you'll do this 3 or 4 times too. Then you turn it over, get a little bit of the material, wind it around twice. Make sure you leave yourself enough tail, otherwise you will be tying those threads. Then I like to hold my finger on it and pull, and then I know the knot has slid itself to where it belongs. And then you snip that one off. And you've got yourself 2 buttons. Okay, now I have to thread my needle, because see, this is too short. I can't throw another button. I would not have enough to tie it. I would not have enough to knot it. And I've got another button to show you. Now, because this is yarn, and when you thread a needle with yarn, it's easier if you fold it over and then you use the nail to help push it through. But if you were using a regular needle and thread, hopefully you've got good vision. I don't have such good vision sometimes. And you have it double again. And you are going to roll it and knot it. And it's knotted. There we go. Okay, now this is one of those buttons that has just the little loop in the bottom. That's all it's got, it's just a little loop. So now you're going to lay that little loop right where the thing was. You're going to go through the bottom, go through your loop. Now you go on the opposite side of that little loop and pull it through. And you'll do this a few times to connect it. You want to make sure you do it 3 or 4 times. Now, if this was a coat, what I would do is I would take probably a 2-hole button. I don't know if this needle will go through it. Yeah, it will. Nope, it won't. This needle's too fat for mine. Because those are real buttons. Let me see if it'll go through this one. Nope, not going to go through that. But anyways, you would put a button on the back side, and you would go down through and catch your loop. Oh, I can't even show you because, never mind, we'll cut that part out. Anyways, we'll cut that out because I can't do it with this yarn and the needle's not going to go through. But you do the same thing, and then when you want to knot it, you loop it around twice and you pull so that the knot slides to the end, and then you snip it. Okay, now you're really not going to sew these with yarn. You're going to really sew them with a thread, a needle and thread. You're going to use the real deal. See this? You can't even see it. It's so small. But you want the thread doubled for a button, and to knot it like I did with the yarn, you just roll. See how much easier it is, and then you slide it down, and you've got a knot. I've just knotted my thread. I don't know if you can see that knot. Can you see the knot? I don't know. It's pretty little. Anyways, it's knotted. So that's how you sew a button. I'm sure that was very boring to some of you, but maybe some of you learned something. I don't know. Let's go back. So that's how you sew on a button. I know a lot of you know how, and for those of you that don't, well, now you know how to, but make sure you use thread and not yarn. Yarn is only for demonstration purposes only, so that you could see. So have a great day, and I probably will try to talk to you again later. I don't know. I'm almost feeling like I want to talk more, but I don't. I'm not going to right now. So, bye.